Hello and welcome back. We're Geeks Assembled and you've rejoined the Madhouse. I don't know why. Prepare yourself for an insane 6.5 days. And tonight we are going to be talking about a DC film, and it's a superhero film because it's superhero night here on Geeks Assembled, as we do once a month. And Lee is just petting his pussy. So as Lee continues to do that, we will talk about Shazam. Yes, and let's Shazam all the way over to Ethan to see what his opening thoughts are.
Well, as a lot of you know, I'm a massive DC fan, and I love having DC comic conversations with Lee and stuff, and just talking about all this. But this is my first time actually finally seeing Shazam. I know this is literally my first time. I only saw the first bit of it last year in Miami. I caught the beginning of it, but not all of it. But what a great film. It's one of those movies where I didn't really know much about the character. I knew he was, I remember the old TV series, the live action series where Shazam, and he's a young kid. Shazam becomes a guy in his 30s. But what a fantastic superhero movie. It was brilliant. It was definitely one of the best ones. It's just a nice, fun movie because it's like that. It's a combination of that film Big with Tom Hanks, a kid wanting to be a grown-up, but a superhero. And it's done so well. I really enjoyed this movie. It actually felt like a classic, maybe like something from the 90s or the 80s.
That's what I told Lee. That's exactly what I told Lee. It felt like something from the 90s.
It felt like something from the 90s, but done so well. You could imagine it like a tribute to
it. Reminded me a bit of Jingle All the Way.
Yeah.
Something like that. With Arnold Schwarzenegger, you remember that film?
Yeah. It was just a very good film. And Zachary Levi as Shazam himself, well, his grown-up form, he was brilliant. I loved him in the series Chuck, but to see him as this, he was brilliant. And Mark Strong is fantastic as the villain. He was one of the best bad guys I've ever seen. I didn't know much about the villain. I know he looks a little bit meek in the original comics, like the really old golden age of the comics. But in this, he was amazing as Zevon. Is that how you say Zevon?
Zevon. Was it Zevon?
Yeah.
Sivana.
I always wanted Mark Strong to play Lex Luthor, Superman's arch enemy. I wish he played Lex Luthor, but he's this villain, and it's great enough. He was fantastic. And you had all the kid actors, like the one who played the one with the crutch, who
the geeky kid, yeah.
He's from the It movies, the new ones. He was brilliant. And the kid who played, what's his real name? Was it
Billy Batson?
Billy, Billy. He was brilliant. And the effects for the Seven Sins was great, and so many great parts. Great actors as well. One actor. Let that fall off. Not on this.
It's Jack Dillon.
One little thing I really want to point out, which made me smile, was Sivana's dad is played by an actor called John Glover. Now, if you know your DC movies or anything, this was great for me. I had the biggest smile ever because John Glover has played loads of DC characters, the villain's father. He's played the Riddler in Batman the Animated Series, Dr. Woodward in Batman and Robin, Lionel Luthor in Smallville, and now he's this guy's dad. And I was just thinking, it was one of the
career out of it, isn't he?
It was one of the best things I'd ever seen. And if you remember the movie Gremlins 2, he's the owner of the big building in the second film, the real sort of the owner of the building. But it was great to see John Glover. I was like, had the biggest smile ever because I was like, oh, it's the Riddler. No, it's Lionel. No, it's the Woodward. But fantastic little comeback for him in DC. But I thought it was fantastic, and it had loads of heart in it. Like all the emotional bits really hit me for him. But yeah, fantastic film. I adored it. Good. Whoever pitched this, great choice.
Me. It was me. It was all me.
I knew it was me.
I always pick the good films. No, but the film does have really good humor, like towards the end when they're having the battle,
Oh,
and
that was
the
a
villain's here,
phenomenally
and
filmed.
Shazam is here, and they're like both talking, but they can't hear each other. It's
But
got
that's
very
it.
good
That was
humor.
one of the best bits in the film where it
Yeah.
just ends. It's the classic villain and hero, the big speech. And in any other movie, they could hear it. But
Yeah.
they switch it round to
The
the
fact
fact
they
he's
couldn't
far
hear
away and
each
he's
other.
like, what? Are you doing a villain speech? Because you're a mile away and I can only hear the car. I was howling with laughter because I thought it was so funny. Because you do think in all the other hero films, how can they hear each other? But yeah, and that you see them all become these superheroes, and all the references, like the Asian kid where he goes Hadouken, fatality, and it was just so fun.
Oh, that's from Mortal Kombat, isn't it?
Mortal Kombat, and
Yeah,
Street
yeah,
Fighter,
yeah.
But the actors in it were just so phenomenal, and it really built up, and it just gave us a really good story. And I'll tell you, that ending made me scream. The ending when he said, "I've brought a friend of mine."
Oh, Superman! Yeah,
And
that was it.
Superman
Yeah.
came in. I just screamed. I was like, "Yes!"
But you just see his bottom half. You don't see his face. Yeah.
Yeah, and I loved that ending where you see Sivana in the prison. And if you're a DC fan, I grinned again because I thought this is the one character I thought you'd never see in a movie was the talking caterpillar. And anybody would think, what the hell's a talking caterpillar? But he's a villain called Mr. Mind, who's a super powerful
Sounds
villain.
like a Pokemon.
Yeah, he was like a little caterpillar going, we shall take over. But he's a villain called Mr. Mind. And I thought they actually brought this guy in. I loved it. I adored this film. Fantastic.
But I did think the guy who plays Shazam, he played it very well considering he was pretending to be a kid.
Oh, that was great. Yeah.
How he pretended to be, because he was just a kid, he's that boy. And then he obviously goes Shazam and then he's a superhero. Yeah.
I'm 15, technically.
Yeah. And discovering his powers as well. Yeah.
But yeah, awesome film. Really enjoyed it. Made me glad to be a DC fan.
So Ethan, we've got a choice now. Should we just give it a score and wrap it up here? Or should we continue and go on to other people?
Continue to go on and other people.
Who should we go to first then?
I'm thinking I don't know. Let's go to one of the other DC fans I know. Well, everybody
pick a name.
Susie.
Let's go to Philip. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want
a little
to just yet.
later.
I mean, we've already passed half the night with Ethan, but that's all right. How do you follow that?
How do you top that, eh?
How do you top that? So I echo everything that Ethan said.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll move on to Susan then.
No, but as I said, I did. Yeah, I mean, it is as Shazam got linked with Black Adam. If everybody knows who Black Adam is.
Yeah, a little bit.
Black Adder.
Black Adam.
Black Adam. Yeah.
Oh, Black Adam. Black
Adam's
Adder.
sort of an anti-version of him. Yeah.
In the Shazam comics.
Yeah. Okay. So I know Shazam from that reading the comics with Black Adam, but the movie itself, I thought it was. When I initially saw the trailer, when it first sort of like popped around, I thought, oh, this is going to be stupid and childish. Because the way that you saw Zachary Levi playing that childish kind of superhero, I thought, that's not going to work. But as I sat and watched that originally, I really enjoyed it. And again, watching it the other day, it's a good movie. It's got, like you said, it's got lots of fun in it, lots of heart. Zachary Levi plays him so well as Shazam. And the boy as well is just as good because the two of them marry it together very well. My favorite, I can't tell you my favorite part. That's still later. Overall, though, Mark Strong, did you say he was? Mark Strong. Yes, I agree. He would have been a wonderful Lex Luthor in any Superman franchise. Wonderful. But as he played the villain here, he was as creepy as, I can't say that word. He was creepy as But
He was
you
very
know,
good, yeah.
and the blue glowing eye and everything, and the monsters that come, the way that the monsters, that's a good thing that they did though. Drain out all the monsters, and then when he's weakened, that's when you can get him. That's a good bit of work from them. The
Yeah, when they
kids,
had to get out Envy, didn't they?
yes,
It was
yeah,
Envy, yeah.
that was kept behind. But when he got to the most penultimate part of it, when all the kids were like superheroes, I thought that was my best bit because everybody had a part to play. They're all doing their superhero bit, and I thought that was brilliant. And in the end, the fairground with the Ferris wheel and everything, that was cool. And the one in the green, because he was like, "Oh, this is my first time, so forgive me if I'm doing it wrong and all that." I thought that was funny because he was like trying to do what he did, but the girl that was fast, she was my favorite. The Quicksilver girl, she was my favorite. I thought she was brilliant. But overall, the movie's good, and the flying scene. Oh, the bit where the bus was off the bridge, and I thought each time someone hit the bus glass front, I thought they were going to fall through it, and then he's going to have to catch them.
I loved it when the dog was sitting there in the way. There, the dog was just...
Yeah,
that is something a cat would do as well. A cat would never move though.
Come on,
yeah,
you
that's
can't
true.
move.
And then he just put a mat out there, said, "I got a crash mat for you lot, okay?" And I thought, "Man, that's not going to work." But yeah, brilliant movie, and I'll continue when we get around to other parts of it.
Yep. Okay. Let's go to Jake.
I thought this was an amazing film. I didn't think I'd enjoy it. Like Philip said by the trailer, I thought, oh, it's going to be a bit crappy and childish. But the acting was great, perfect. You can tell they've got such good chemistry with each other. And like Ethan said earlier, I loved the Seven Sins. What great designs they were. And their voices. When I look at a film, I love the designs of monsters and how they sound. And they say it's so threatening. I love the set design of that wizard thing he was in. And the villain, I adored the bald man. I think he'd make a really good Mr. Freeze as well. And it reminds me of a villain in an animated film we used to watch when I was little called We're Back, a Dinosaur Story, because he had a glowing eye.
Really good film. That's a really
and
good
that's
film.
who he reminded me of, and he used to scare the utter shite out of me.
Yeah, with a screw eye. Yeah,
What was that? An animated film, was
It's an
it?
animated film, yeah. And a villain of that reminds me of the villain in this so much. And yeah, it's a good film. Yeah, I'll get back to my favourite moments when it's that time.
All right, let's go to Lee. Yep, caught him out. Caught short then, Lee.
You usually leave me
He did
to
with the police officer in Hull.
Yeah.
Still an ongoing investigation, though, folks. I can't say anything.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. What can you say about this movie? It's a fun family movie, but also you've got adult humour in it as well. Especially when he keeps going to Hooters. The club. Yeah, Zachary Levi, brilliant as Shazam, or as the people who are old enough to remember the original Captain Marvel before they had to change the name. And Mark Strong as Dr. Sivana. Yeah, well British actor who always ends up playing villains in movies. And it's not the first time he's played a DC villain. He played Sinestro
in Green Lantern.
Which one day we may get round to doing if we feel stupid enough. But yeah,
I'll get a few drinks.
Yeah. But it's been said, it's the camaraderie in this movie of the kids, and also when Shazam's an adult hero with his sidekick, teaching him, testing him on the flight and all like this, and X-ray vision and stuff like that. But it's well done. Yeah, I was dubious when it was announced that this actor was going to play Shazam, because he was only well known for, as you say, Chuck and a couple of other things. Because he wasn't really a big, because they usually go for big names, don't they, in these sort of movies. But no, they got someone out of a TV show, and it really did work well. Yeah, and it was great the way he was playing an adult, coping with being a young kid. That was brilliant. I mean, it has been mentioned, big Tom Hanks, and we know what I think of Tom Hanks, so we won't go down that road. But yeah, an enjoyable movie, well shot. The effects are brilliant in this, and the casting is awesome. Yeah, Superman did turn up at the end. it was going to be Henry Cavill, but he got removed because they just dropped him for some reason. So they couldn't. So they just he's no longer Superman apparently. So that's why you don't see the head bit. So there you go. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
I'm quite happy with the lower half.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
It was a good choice that Ali chose this. Well, actually, I chose it.
Yes, thank you, Lee. It was a good choice. And it's like when he's on the road and then suddenly gets hit by the lorry. That was funny.
Hold on a minute. We'll get round to you.
Okay.
But yeah,
have you finished interrupting me now?
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting the host who asked me to speak.
He's talking to himself again, folks.
No, carry on. Yeah, go on. I'll go to best bits later on, but over to you.
Okay, let's go to Susie since she's unmuted herself. She's rebelling.
What else is new? Yeah, well, when this movie first came out, I saw it and I just didn't like it. I thought the humor was a little too childish for me, and I just thought the whole movie was made for kids, which it was, but which a lot of
all these
other
superhero films are made for kids.
But you'd like, I'm talking now, Mr. Host. Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Sorry,
great auntie.
The other DC movies are made for adults, but this one is definitely made for children. But I just saw it, before we were going to review it, and I really loved it. I think it's because in all of the trailers they show all the silly humor parts that's kid-like, and so in my brain that was all it was. But when I saw it again, I really enjoyed it. And John Glover, right? Henry Glover, what's that guy?
Yeah, John Glover.
He's also the Goldacott in DC Deep Space Nine, who I actually have met on the streets of Philadelphia.
Oh, cool.
He was coming out of a building one day. I was walking a dog, of course, with another person. I'm not sure. I think they lived together. I'm not sure what their status was. And we just got into this conversation. I said, I know you. I'm like, are you Goldacott? So anyway, it was funny. I don't know why he was in town, but it was a nice, lovely conversation. But yeah, lots of really great actors. And being from Philadelphia, being in Philadelphia currently, it was really cool to see, the opening set up in Philadelphia with all the shots and everything. But I can tell you that's where the Philadelphia setting ended. Everything else was kind of mind-blowing for a native because it wasn't shot in Philadelphia. And you're like, where am I? I don't know where I am. So that was kind of funky. But the opening shots were cool for me because it's practically my backyard. That trail that the movie is shot around, I can walk from my house up to the museum. And it was really kind of cool to see that. And the bus that gets fallen off, that he shoots practically off the bridge and that he catches, the number 9 bus is a bus that I take rather frequently. And actually the bus looked pretty much SEPTA-ized, and they did put SEPTA signs up in the subway, but definitely was not a SEPTA station. So it was all kind of, it wasn't really Philly, and everything else was pretty much blue screen, green screen. Whatever.
Well, green screen, blue screen, it's all
green, blue,
stuff.
whatever you say to I don't really care. And so, but no, I enjoyed it. It was fun. I think it's a fun movie, especially for now. It doesn't get too dark, but it addresses issues. And, I was glad to see the foster kid scenario, and the foster parents were good. And I really thought that the movie was overall pretty well done. So that's my opening thought.
Wow, Susie's from Philadelphia. You know what? She's never mentioned it, viewers.
Oh, shut up.
She's never mentioned a word of it.
Philadelphia. I currently reside in Philadelphia.
Right, let's go to Susan and Alex, of course, our viewers' choice of favorite members.
Our your pickup team, your designated hitters.
Or
okay.
Our viewers' choice of members.
This is a movie about, in my opinion, it's about family. It's about,
yes, it is. Yes,
it's about this kid whose family treats him like shit, who turns into a really bad evil character, and because of that abuse, he is unable to achieve the sort of superpower, the championhood, because he's abused. And then the second kid is abandoned, neglected, abandoned, and yet because of some decent foster care and some police officers that are involved in his life, he becomes a really cool guy, and his heart is kept pure, and therefore he is the one that can be a champion. And then he spends his whole life trying to find his mom, his mom for our British cast members, who turns out to be someone who herself is undergoing some control and abuse issues. And so instead of accepting that or trying to push her into something, this kid has enough presence of mind, which I personally probably would not. If I would have spent my whole dang life looking for my mom, I probably wouldn't have had the presence of mind to back off at that moment. And that's what he did. And he basically saved her from being hit or, hurt or whatever. And by doing that, it was really amazing. And then he chose to go with his foster family. And his foster family was a bunch of kids. It was so many different people of color and people of different ethnicities and people with different strengths and different weaknesses. Some people with a kid with a disability, a kid with an emotional emotional affectivity, the little baby girl. I mean, this is family. It's like all of us who are all, we geeks assembled are coming from all over, because I want to.
I love Alan's face.
Because we're all.
Let's get to the punching, will you?
Okay, well, I'll let you get to the punching. I'm just going to talk about family, because that's why I chose this image.
I just want to say, we're not family, dear.
As the backdrop. Well, we are
Have
all.
you ever heard you keep your friends close, but your enemies even closer?
That's why there's an Atlantic Ocean
this very
there.
situation.
Alan, actually, it's this way. That's why you're across the Atlantic Ocean, my friend. Anyway,
Thank God for that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I tried to be really inclusive and really understanding and loving, but I guess I'm being voted down again. Here's Alex.
No!
Anyway, yeah, you just get to the punching part. We're, come on. No,
well, we don't condone violence.
Obviously, as they even mentioned in the movie, you have to give him a psychological a hurdle, and of course that was it. But the nice thing was he did realize, and the other point that he realized is you can't just have everything and get everything. So that was good that he was smart enough to realize that. Yeah, it is multicultural. Yeah, it is a family. But it's, you're not watching it for that. It's not a Hallmark movie. You're watching it for the punching and the jumping and all that. So let's be real, shall we? America, USA, all that other, stuff.
Rocky.
Well, hey, Rocky had a family too. Rocky wasn't all bad. Yeah. So I mean, basically, you're watching it for the punching. But the nice thing was he was smart, and even though he was treated bad, and even though he didn't have the family that he wanted, I think he finally mellowed out and realized it isn't all that bad, and he didn't want to turn into the supervillain or whatever. So I think he took the right approach. I did enjoy the old trope of the bullets and throwing the guys to the window, even though that was violent. But I did enjoy that. They kind of went, "Oh, here you go. Shoot me, shoot me, shoot me."
And they had the Batman
thingy. Yeah, they couldn't hurt him and
Batman
all
thingy.
that. And I did enjoy that he was holding the ball of evil at the end, and he didn't. I like that he was laughing with the family, going, "Oh, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna use it." So that was kind of funny. Yeah. So I mean, there's very little that's wrong with this movie, and obviously, it's very smart, and it's trying to turn the tropes on the head and all that.
Yeah.
There were a few things I didn't like the bully should have gotten a little bit more taste of the medicine, and they probably
Well,
should
I
have
did
made
get
that.
their car destroyed.
Yeah, they
I
should have.
mean,
That's quite a big
tractor
thing.
fell out underneath the truck.
Yeah, I
They
know.
got there just as
I
early.
Yeah,
know.
the
I know.
trucker.
Yeah, but it was a little, it was a little heavy with what was it, about 3 or 4 times? But like I said, the movies know now that you sort of have to turn it on its head. And the bus thing, that was a little strange, but I understand they had to do it. Remember, this is coming after Spider-Man and all the other versions of the Hulk, Spider-Man, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's nice to have a hero that you don't automatically know every single thing they're going to do.
Yeah.
Plus, this is a combination of the gods turned into, superhero form. So it's a little that's why I like Shazam, even the corny 1970s one, is that you don't know every single thing that they're going to do, like with almost all the other superheroes, that them. They've been done, 500 movies of them. It gets a little boring. But this one, you actually feel like you're on the journey with him, because he doesn't know everything he's going to do. But I enjoy the fact that he did make the right decisions in the end.
Okay. Well, as usual, it's Susan's the one that talks sense, and Alex.
Oh, is that right?
Well, not so much. Yeah, because this film is all about family. It is. Susan summed it up. It is about family. And it's about this kid who's a foster kid because his mum just couldn't deal with him, couldn't cope with him. And she deliberately left him, because as it shows, she could have gone back and gotten him off the police, but she decided not to. And she could have found him at any time. And she decided not to. And then when he turns up, she's not interested. And then that's it. And then the door shuts and you don't see her again. I did think that they were going to be reunited in the end, but it didn't go down that route. Yeah, so this film is all about family. And of course, you've got the evil guy who was very good, but he had a problem family as well. He had a problem family. So, yeah, Susan, I mean, Alex does talk down Susan a bit, but Susan's correct. It is all about family. And yeah, it's about the punching and the kicking and the flying and the superhero stuff, but you have to have an underlying layer of story. And that was the underlying layer of story, was the family. And in the end, he sat round the table with his new family. And that was it. And he did the thing with the hand in the middle and that, and he joined in the end. And they all became, yeah, exactly. And they all became really good friends, and all the kids became their own superheroes, by saying Shazam. And that's what it was about. Yeah, you can have the punching and the kicking and all that, but we've seen that so many times, and that gets boring after a while, doesn't it? So yeah, I did think, did it go on a bit too long? Yeah, I suppose. It didn't need to be over 2 hours. Didn't need to be that. Could have cut, I say. Could have cut it down to 1 hour 40. Yeah. I like films that are just like 1 hour 40. I don't like it when they get to 2 hours or 2 hours and 20 minutes. But no, it was a really fun watch overall. Yeah, great moments, lots of humorous moments we've discussed when the villain and the superhero were, trying to shout towards each other, Yeah, so I thought it was a really good film. Let's throw it open. I'm going to throw open the floor to favourite moments, because usually people just repeat the same favourite moments. So let's throw open the floor. Try not to repeat the same favourite moments, because it takes a while. And I'm going to say Santa Claus. There we go. Now I'm starting off with Santa. Carry on.
But the Santa at the end when he came on swearing and
Yeah.
He just loses the plot.
Oh,
Yeah, it was so funny.
He came in.
Yeah.
That's very
Can I just
There
add
were
to
so
the
many
fact-
funny moments, like when the villain was giving his villain speech and Shazam couldn't hear him. He's like, "Are you giving this?"
As I said,
villain
let's
speech?
not try and go over the same favorite moments.
We haven't talked about that favorite moment yet, so I can't hear you. Can't hear. But the other thing is, Philadelphia is not that big, and the buildings aren't that tall. So there are some skyscrapers that have been built the last decade or two, but it's not really that big or tall. So, and the Christmas thing is not that big. It's like not that big. So anyway, those are but I got lots of other favorite moments. Somebody else talk.
One of my favorite characters in this was the wizard, played.
Oh yeah, he was good.
The wizard was
The
really
original.
cool, and he was really amazing, and he was just like he had all this power, and he was still dying and getting old, so that was pretty amazing.
The best bit I like, well, some of the best bit I like, was when Shazam is learning to use his powers and the boys filming him and all that, and all the little mishaps he has along the way with it. That was quite amusing for me.
I agree. Yeah, that one was just brilliant. Even when he's shocking all the phones, your phone's charged. Your phone's charged. One of them blows up. And they steal the money. Like, get the money. Go.
But the only
They
thing,
keep setting up in the strip club.
can I just add the bit about the family thing?
They're nice people in there. What?
Hold on, let Philip speak.
Sorry, the bit about the family. I'm going to just add a little bit to that just before you go on somewhere else. It's just that it also celebrates being a kid as well, as much as being family. It celebrates being a kid because Shazam is still a childlike, even though it's got a child in him. It's telling you it's okay to be a child and have fun in life as well. So that's what it's also.
And is anybody going to say the famous quote of Tom Baker's, Ethan?
There's no point growing up if you can't be
no
childish.
point in being a grown up if you can't be childish.
Yes.
And the other thing that's really cool about Zachary Levi playing the adult Shazam is that he also played a hero in the Marvel universe. He played one of Thor's people. I guess his name is Fandral or something like that. It's super cool.
I like the meeting room scene with all the 7 deadly sins attacking everyone. I enjoyed that.
That was great. That was good.
He throws his dad out the window, doesn't he? Yeah.
That was so dark.
He throws his brother out the window. And the other bit I like is the effect of that woman getting disintegrated when she shuts the door.
That was good.
Oh my god, it just falls apart and screams. But yeah, I like the anything with 7 deadly sins in. I like that shot where the dad's like, "You nearly caused us to crash." Then, bam! Someone crashes into. Oh my god, I love things like that. It's very good. A very good, enjoyable film. And like Philip and Susan Ethan says, all about growing up and family. Because sometimes that's your best superpower, family.
Yeah, let's not get too sloppy. Come on, let's.
one little bit I really liked that had me howling. I thought one bit really was funny. Like I love the meeting between Shazam and Dr. Sivana, and he's like, "Are you a real bad guy? Okay, let's do this." And he realizes, this guy's just a strong. They're crashing everywhere, and his mate, brother. Who's the other guy? Crashing through the ground. But I love the bit they get to the toy shop and he's walking through Dr. Savannah. He's going, ah! And he goes, "Get him, Batman!" And he grabs a Batman toy and he goes, "I'm Batman. Get him, Batman!" Throws it at Dr. Savannah. As if like, kill him, Batman. It didn't work. But that was just so funny.
I liked the way they hooked up this movie into the other DC universe with the Batarang. And with the
that was
from
cool with the
Superman, that was kind of cool.
The bullet, the classic bullet that hit Superman, and
the beginning.
And his wanting to go on a date with Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Well, Shazam does that in other DC areas too. So he's always trying to hit on Wonder Woman.
I'm trying to think of other bits we haven't mentioned. I actually quite like the bit where they're all in the lair, as they ended up calling it at the end, with
I like the doors.
Shazam right in the middle with all the chairs. Yeah, all the doors.
But I like the
that was a
doors
bit.
as well.
That was a really good.
That reminded me a bit like Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go in.
Yeah, a bit Monsters Inc. when they got all the doors.
Different worlds and stuff.
Yeah.
Or Harry
I
Potter.
I love the shot. I loved the shot they did where after Shazam gets punched and he's in the center with all the thrones. And then there's a shot they did where all the seven sins came out and all like in place of the thrones as if they've taken over. And it was a really cool shot of these monsters hovering over him. And there's Dr. Sivana. But it looked like as if we rule this lair. These thrones are ours. It was this shot. What a great shot. And then, of course, all the kids fighting against these monsters.
Yeah.
As you said,
and when they first figured out what their superpowers were.
I'm sorry, Lee.
Gotta jump in, Lee. Jump in.
No, finish what you were saying, and then I'll go after you.
I forgot I was on a roll.
Okay, let's go to Lee.
Yeah, I like the scenes where the train, where it's going to the wizard's realm. And it's going faster.
Oh, yeah.
The effects in this movie are so brilliant.
Very good, yeah.
Because these sort of movies, you get used to seeing, it's just a run-of-the-mill things now. We're so used to these things, but watching it, because this has been the third time I've seen this movie, you see little things here and little there, and the effects of them are just brilliant. The scene where he says he goes to the liquor store and gets beer, they spit it out and go back and get sweets. But they're right. It is about family because even Shazam remembers the wizard saying his family of 7 wizards sat on that throne.
Yeah,
them thrones there. It's all about from beginning to end. Is all about family, and it makes me want to see. Because they are making a Black Adam movie with Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam, The Rock.
That would be really cool.
Yeah,
they're making a sequel.
The what?
Yeah.
They're making a sequel. Sorry, I was going to say they're making a sequel to this, but there's an evil. He's sort of like an evil version of Shazam called Black Adam. It was a black and gold suit. But Dwayne Johnson's going to play this villain, this archer.
He's getting his own film as well, Black Adam.
Yeah. But I would love to see Zachary Levi and Dwayne Johnson go at it with each other.
I beg your pardon. That's a totally different film, that is.
I have a question for the host.
Oh!
I couldn't hear what he said.
Right, Alid,
What?
have you ever put your hands on a shaft and said Shazam?
Oh, well,
But I might do it.
What way? In what way?
I mean, I don't need to say Shazam.
Hello, nurse.
Okay.
He screams.
I've just.
I would think.
Stuff just happens when I place my hand on it. I can't help it.
I would be surprised.
Shazam or no Shazam.
Wouldn't be surprised in the sequel if the father or both the father and the mother from the foster care turns out to be some form of the wizard. Back in Shazam and some of the DC animated movies, the wizard looks very, very much like the foster father. And and so it would not surprise me moving forward if he might be some sort of, since all the kids are now, so we'll see. But I look forward to a sequel of this. I think that it could be a lot of fun in a lot of ways. and they just seemed to have so much fun making it. This was so much more lighthearted than some of the other Disney movies, and a subject
that's
that
the
has been
important thing
talked.
of it.
And it was
Right.
colourful.
The subject that has been
Yeah.
talked to death in geek circles is how dark Disney became, and even though
This is DC,
Marvel,
not Disney.
I'm sorry, DC, and even though Marvel dealt with
I know
dark
that.
issues, they always managed to keep it light, so that it was more entertaining. But I think this movie really blended those two, and I think they're on a different path, and I hope that continues.
What you say has been said in some other podcasts that I've been in about DC being really dark and not funny, and especially with Batman versus Superman. And then
I liked Batman versus
and then let me tell you that the fact that so many of these actors crossed over, the guy who played the Wizard, Jomon Hansu or whatever, he played Korath in Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, he's another one of all of these actors are crossing over back and forth between DC and Marvel. It's fun. So of course the fun is going to follow them.
Yeah, except I don't think the major actors of the major parts are allowed to cross over. I think there's in their contract. Like I don't think you'll see, any of the major characters in a DC movie. I think that's part of maybe it's a time frame thing. It'll wear out, but I read that somewhere too. Maybe the minor actors don't have that kind of clause. I have no idea. But yeah, no, I think that came from the direction. But also, in defense of that, Batman is a dark freaking character, and there's just no getting away from it. It was always written to be a dark character, and Iron Man was always just a little lighter than Batman.
All right, well, before we descend into talking about every single DC character, let's
which would be a very worthwhile conversation.
I know, really long podcast.
Let's put this to bed and let's move on to final stand score.
Bed with Shazam. Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, hello. All right, go on, Philip. You put it to bed first.
Well, my score out of 10 for Shazam is a whopping 9 Shazams out of 10. Thank you.
We like a whopping. Right. Let's go to Alex and Susan.
Here you go.
Okay. So he's got the wisdom of Solomon, the power of Zeus, the courage of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury, and that's Shazam. But yeah, it's a cute movie. I'll give it a 9 because I like the fact that it is making fun of the it's embracing it while it's making fun of it, and yet it's not, totally disrespectful. So I like that, and we know that Superman.
Okay, don't hold the microphone.
Wait a minute. Spider-Man.
Give it to Susan.
Homecoming. They were trying to make fun of it.
Yeah, give it to Susan. Yeah, no.
Easy now.
Let him finish. He's been quiet for a while.
So So I mean, it's better than Spider-Man: Homecoming in many ways. The jokes are a little bit more relatable.
Yeah. And because it's all family, I will give it 10 brothers and sisters with superpowers out of 10.
Wow. Let's go to Susie.
Oh, I can't. I'll be right back.
Okay, let's go to Ethan.
Okay then. I'm gonna give it. I actually will. I'll give it a 10 out of 10. It was a fantastic story, and we keep repeating ourselves about family, and it's just a lovely story about a kid becoming a superhero. And we've all wanted to be heroes or whoever. Some wanted to be Disney villains or princesses, but
what do you mean wanted to be?
Okay, you are one. Yeah, you are one.
We all know you're a Disney princess.
We all know, yeah. But we all wanted to be heroes and stuff as kids. It's a great depiction of it. So if these kids becoming heroes, I mean, what more could a kid want? So yeah, 10 out of 10 for a really good family superhero film.
Okay,
let's go back to Susie.
Okay.
If we can.
And everybody said, yes, everything everybody said is true. It was fun. I think I'm going to give it an 8.5. It was a really good movie that I enjoyed. but I wouldn't rank it as one of my favorite superhero movies. So, but it was really very good. Solid movie.
Yeah,
Very
8.5.
enjoyable.
That's
And
good.
I look forward to the sequel.
Okay, let's go to Jake.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, so I'm going to give it a 9.
All right, let's go to Lee.
This is another movie. What Batman Returns did? This was set at Christmas and released in the middle of the
In
year.
summer.
Yeah, well, this was released April of last year. But I forgot it was set at Christmas, to be honest, when I chose it. But there you go.
Christmas film, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and it raked in $366 million at the box office.
That's okay.
So that's not bad going, is it?
Nowhere near what Frozen 2 did. But, you know,
for
not every film can be
Get
a
that.
$1 billion film.
There you go.
So as Ethan says, you know, when you're a kid, you dream of becoming a hero. But some people in real life do become heroes. And, you know, they work for the NHS. They become essential workers, key workers in these bad times. Those are heroes.
And they join Geeks Assembled.
And some of these key workers and essential workers are members of Geeks Assembled.
Yeah.
Um,
We are key members. We're keeping the nation entertained.
Some people out there are having to go to work in the dark times. So, you know, you've got to just give them a thumbs up and appreciate what every of those people do. On going back to the movie, I'm going to give it 10. What shall we say? 10 8 balls out of 10.
Oh, shafts, I thought you were going to say.
No,
10
8 balls.
shafts.
Nobody mentioned the 8 ball in the beginning.
Yeah, it's too late now.
Never too late.
Yeah, too late now.
I mentioned it just then.
Our future is uncertain.
Right, so I'm stuck what I'm going to score it, really. It's either going to be an 8 or 9. And I think for that reason, I'm going to go an 8.5.
We have the same score? Wow.
Yeah, because I thought it was a really fun film. It's got lots of humor. It's got a message behind it about family, which is always good. You know, yeah, it's been done by many other films, but it's still a good message, isn't it? You know, the acting is very brilliant. It's really, really good, the acting. Yeah, so I'm going to give it an 8.5 because that's what I think it deserves. So yeah, I'd like to thank everybody here for joining me, even Philip now and again. Not too often, though. Don't want to encourage him. I'd like to thank Cher for watching as usual. Thank you, Cher.
Thank you, Cher.
Yeah. And tell us below
Cher
what you
just
think.
watches us all the time.
That's all she
Yeah.
does.
Tell us, Cher, what you thought of Shazam below. And now we are going to head off, and we're all going to go to Susan and Alex's house.
And
No,
hit the
actually,
button.
we can't
Hit
go
the
to Susan
button.
and
Hit
Alex's
the
house,
button.
can we?
Hit the bell. Hit the bell.
Just
Ring
remember.
So
the
that you get the
bell.
notifications. Hit the
We're
bell.
not going to
hit the bell.
Susan and Alex's house. Hit the bell. Yeah, thank you, Susan. Hit the bell, ding-a-ling-a-ling. Follow us, you know, wherever. Hit that subscribe button. Look after yourself. Take care.
This is the longest closing ever.
Yeah, and we will... Susie, do you mind?
See, I had to get
Interrupting
you.
Yes, it's Shazam, yeah.
And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Phew.
Thank you for the music.